Hi, it's WaveOfActionUK, and we're on live chat again, and we're with Chris Morgan, and you'll remember him from Ginger Snaps of UK Collapse.
Hello.
Hello. And we're going to be discussing the usual tic-tac of today's and yesterday's and this year's and this century's politicians and usual different... Be here yet?
Is she? Is P here?
I'm here, just pottering. Just come in. Hang on a minute.
That is a beautiful bow, P.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
It's nice.
Big enough. Holds my brain in.
Yeah, it's lovely.
That's why I've started growing my hair long.
Yeah, it's nice. It's floppy. Floppy's good.
So we can plait it.
Yeah.
No, I'm already fighting that off from the wife and the kids. I'm like, my wife and my daughter are like, can we just braid your hair? Can we just? I'm like, no, it's not happening.
It's part of the floppy hair. You have to allow it. Allow that.
Fine.
Right, guys, just had a tweet on Wave of Action, which is justice for Jimmy.
Right, okay.
Jimmy, fix it.
Justice for Jimmy.
Yeah.
How would Jimmy like justice?
Well, apparently, you know, it's a stitch-up. It's an unfair cop. We've got to get him justice.
Right, okay. So does everyone think that's a fair statement?
I applied justice for victims, actually.
Right, yeah.
So what's that? They're saying that Jimmy Savile is innocent. Is that what the profession is to the tweet?
They sent about 4 tweets, and it stems from the Labour peer being and not being included in the investigation because he has dementia. To which we got a reply that apparently all the witnesses wouldn't come forward until Jimmy had died because they didn't want to lie under oath in court, and you know, justice for.
So he's attacking the abused, basically, in his statement.
So you're getting now like the debunkers going on to Jimmy Savile now. The debunking kind of thing is like, well, we're going to debunk Jimmy. Jimmy didn't do what he did. It was all a fix-up. Someone fixed it up for Jimmy. Yeah,
he got it back. Yeah, I think that one's a lie.
Do you know when you read that tweet out? Did you see the story that's going around at the moment about the girl that got raped and that happened at the party? It's in America, and it's all gone. It was recorded. It's like the Steubenville stuff, and she got ridiculed and mocked. Now I'm like, hold on a second. Now the victim, it's like you look at this, and how are they seeing that the rapist is not the bad person in this? They've victimized and bullied this person to make her, the victim of this, become worse than what the actual rapist is.
It's like that across the board, though, isn't it? I mean that's a crime. But if you look at that video with the girl in Magaluf or wherever, where she was promised a holiday.
And the rest of them, no one else got the blame, just that one
girl.
girl.
One girl was the one, you know, she gave 24 men a blowjob, right? Probably not the wisest decision she'd made in her life, but she was...
Hold on a second. Now, it's funny you should mention this. I actually... In the guise of investigation, I was quite intrigued to see what was... Today, I saw the video, and it is on Lively. You can actually see the video on Lively. Whether it's the whole entire footage or not, it is a portion of that tape. It is censored, but the action that she does perform, even though that it is surprisingly, you know, not the done thing in supposed said circles.
Sorry to say this. That is carnage. This is what we do. It's Magaluf, right?
All she does is put the male genitalia in her mouth for a second or two. It doesn't. It's not a whole.
The problem's the woman being the only person targeted in this. You know, the dirty birdies who got their cocks out and shoved them in their mouth are just as dirty as anyone. And it's also
it doesn't need to be deemed as dirty.
They did
Do you know what I mean? These kids go, and they're what, 19, 20? They're going to be in a life full of slavery for the rest of their lives. I have been Magaluf, and I have to say I'm not ashamed of anything I did in Magaluf. What goes on in Magaluf should really stay in Magaluf.
It's a holiday, isn't it?
It shouldn't have been allowed on YouTube. It's just like, get it off, for alone.
I don't see, me personally, from what I saw of it, it was just, I used to work in a nightclub, and I've seen worse than that go on in this country. So it's like, don't even profess to like being. I've seen some really whacked out, freaky stuff go on in a club that I worked at, and it's like, what's going? Hold on. She puts it in her mouth for no more than like a second. It's not a full sexual act. If anything, it's a quick kiss. It's like
out, not a blowjob.
It's not within the sexual act. It's like, it's just being. But then again, it's just the over stigmatization of one woman's act when it's like it's fucking holiday. It's kids doing it. This kind of shit's gone on for years.
There were 25 people involved in that. Why is just the woman getting stick?
Yeah, and you know for a fact these are set up by the reps. When you go on these holidays, you've got reps asking you to pass multiple. You've got reps asking to make you pass like multiple items of fruit between various body parts, and you've got drink flowing freely and all night. And the thing is, if you're going to reprimand one girl, does that not just show that society has just turned into a pig-headed, sexist place to be? Because that one girl, she wasn't the only person. If she's performed how many sex acts, does that not mean there's that many sex acts, that many people involved?
My issue as well is the amount of alcohol before they suggested these things. You know, if everybody's like that, why do you have to give them so much alcohol first?
The alcohol in itself is it's going to loosen inhibitions anyway. It's the worst thing to do.
She's from a very born-again Christian family. She's had to go back and face her family now.
Yeah, we've all had to do that at some point, haven't we?
But I think they're proper religious. They said like the devil got she went out into the world and her God side was tested and she failed, but she'll be brought back around, sort of thing. So she's going to get a lot of religious
teachings in the next few months. Yeah.
Well, she'll be into the priest. A few Hail Marys.
Yeah, definitely. I went to the
equality. My issue with it is the equality. You know, you've got to take everybody who is involved on the same value. You've got to treat everybody involved the same, not single out one person.
Well, what was the point in getting women to vote? What was the point in winning?
Yeah, but that's like, you've got the simple equation now, haven't you? You've got the simple equation now. It's the simple idea of if you keep a woman suppressed and keep downtrodden and everything like that, and you keep that side of the species completely, you control everything else. They don't want women to be independent. They don't want women to be, because then that's when they gain control of everything else. A woman is more. I argue this point in favour of women taking more positions in power than I do men, because of just the temperament and nurturing kind of animal instincts that women have over men. Women are more nurturing and caring, and right, that's not to go even more generalisation, can be somewhat, more concise with their passions, say if it was in an anger kind of way. Women don't muck around.
I do. I think women can direct. They've got that feminine side. They direct they direct themselves differently. And I think it's not to say that they're better at something, but maybe they're more appropriate and fitting to be at certain points. Whereas possibly not a man-woman thing. It's a male ego versus.
It's very much the male ego thinking, though, isn't it? It's that mentality that the male ego is that your woman, you want your woman to be all the things that you want her to be, but can't be that like adventurous outside anywhere else because you can't control that. It's just the controlling method, isn't it?
It's great that
from
caveman.
You've got like advertising now that teaches young girls, and with young girls sexting and things like that, you know, I mean young, I mean like 13, 14. The problem is we live in a society where magazines, newspapers, films, music videos, everything says to a woman, you dress like a slut, you act like a slut, but God help you the day that you're labelled one, because that's when the shit starts. You know, women are encouraged, you know, to, you know, be sexy and happy in
it's
the
wrong.
house, but
it is wrong for a woman.
And they are slapped down into their place and labelled, you know, and that's not what's fair.
No, and that's the thing. I think these days, if you're, I'm not taking it as a path or anything, but if you're going to walk down that line of having numerous relationships, which I'm sorry, it's my God-fearing right to have as many relationships as I want with as many people as I want, and labels to me are nothing. I find it weird to label. It's like same as if a person say like if so it's different if you're like say gay or you're lesbian, but if you've got a person who kind of just goes for anything and everything, it's like, well, you're a human who likes other humans. Hey ho, whatever. Might like this one day, might like that. And it's the same with labelling it with sluts. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a slut. It's just kind of you haven't settled down and you're a little bit more faster than everyone else in life at getting what you want.
Why can't we just be like monkeys and do what we got to do?
Picked out afterwards.
All sit round communally and not worry about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I think some of that comes down to fear of women's sexuality. I think that, especially maybe men in power have a bit of fear about the sexual power women can have over men.
Well, of course. Look at all the big furores that you'll see like happens with MPs and visiting dominatrix and things like that. These so-called men in power want even more powerful women to dominate them. It becomes, you know, I'm this, that, but then they're denigrating with their policies against women. You've seen it loads of times.
I think it possibly might
MPs.
be the balance of what you do behind closed doors and what people see you do away from closed doors. I think there's a balance.
But that's a society, isn't it? That's society perception.
Yeah, someone like that girl in that club wasn't given the option to do what she wanted to do behind closed doors, and that's where you have to use a bit of common sense, I think. So you just kind of have to realise this is 2014. There are cameras everywhere. There is nothing you can do in a crowd of people that's interesting that can't go on YouTube now. It's just the general.
It's people being people, having fun and all that. Like, so what? So right. Hold on. Excuse me. So fucking what? Some blonde young lady, quite good looking, wanted to have some fun, do a couple of guys on a dance floor, get a free bottle of cheap shit, drink that. When fucking Israel's getting bombed, you're like, what the fuck?
When you think of it,
when
you think about it that way, how many was there? 49.
I don't know, 20 or something or whatever.
Well, you think, right, more than one of those people was more than sloppy seconds, weren't they? So you think the woman's in a bad position. I'm sorry, but the last one on the line's in the worst position for what I see.
The line turned it down. It was that bloke from Towie, weren't it? It was like, no, you sort of like abused her a bit.
Like, oh, what? Like you're gonna like listen to the standards of approval from a twat like that? Oh, right, yeah, really, like you.
Her generation probably would, but the whole issue as well is how social media and things go on to affect, you know, your other way of life. Nowadays we live in a, you know, I couldn't get a job interview. Like a lot of corporations take one look at my Facebook wall and go, where? No.
Well, they've not started doing it so much over here. It's only in a few companies that they've started doing it. I know Asda do it.
Audi's horrendous. Audi
My kid's school does it. My kid's school does it. They go on your Facebook.
Audi won't let you have relationships with other cashiers and people who work in the building, and they write spy on their employees.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're the worst. Audi, they are the worst ones here. I mean,
they have private detectives that will follow you.
They control their relationships, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're horrendous, you know. So you say like they don't in this country, but I think
Like
that
Brenda, Greg.
No, I know Asda's do. I definitely know Asda's definitely do. I know that when I worked at Marks and Spencer's, they brought a policy in about stuff on Facebook, saying that, you know, make sure that you do not talk about work when you're on social media. And you're like, what the fuck, man? Hold on a second.
When you think about it, that is crazy, and to that extent that these corporations are actually now controlling our lives.
I can't say that I've had a bad day at work. I can't say that I've done something pissed me off at work. I couldn't say that. It's like, well, hold on a second. Now you're invading my private life.
Yeah, it's not on.
No, it's not. It's not.
And you know, like this girl, say like she goes on to study politics and ends up, you know, high up in the political scene. That's something that's going to dog her for the rest of life. She might as well just, instead of saying, oh yeah, he had a moment of weakness, I turned away from God, she might as well stand up and own that now.
Yeah, the worst part is, if she was in the Houses of Parliament, she'd be classed as an innocent compared to what them fuckers have been doing. Do you know what I mean?
It'd have been covered up.
Like that. Yeah, but
it would have been covered up. She wouldn't have faced charges. She would have claimed some kind of illness, or they would have waited until she was old, or they'd then posted it.
Like, sorry, I had a memory loss. It wasn't me. I'm an MP.
I guess it's growing up today, isn't it? Because like we've all done stupid things, and we've all done things that we're probably not really proud of, and we thank fuck they never had a video. And YouTube, you know. But now you just, like you say, you can't escape nothing. And that's where they're struggling with protests, because it doesn't matter how much the media ignore us and they pretend that it's not happening. We now spread like wildfire on the internet.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got camera and video. It's like in Palestine, in ISIS. I mean, their media campaigns.
Yeah. This is the thing. It does go like wildfire. The thing is, though, we've got to get used to this or fight back harder, because it's either one way or the other. At the minute, we're pushing, because I wouldn't want this to happen, but there's nothing I can personally do to stop people walking around with a video camera and putting images.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen though. There is no way, unless there is a complete civilization technological breakdown where shit don't work. That's never gonna happen again. It's never gonna go back. It can't unless there is a complete breakdown in civilization and shit becomes irrelevant. It will only go exponentially.
Chris, if there's a big electromagnetic pulse button in front of you, you're going to push it, and all the world's power is going to be taken out. Would you push it?
No.
Damn it.
Why wouldn't you push it?
Why? Because it would kill too many people.
Yeah. That's right, because
you push that button. Yeah. You push that button. It's a reset button.
Me, I'm like, push it.
Kate was like, I'll push it. And then I was like, but all the babies on the incubators, all the sky, all of that.
Planes, everything. You hit that button, every single piece of transport is gone. Just the infrastructure alone, transportation. You are talking millions, if not close to 1 billion people will die instantly just from transportation. That's without health and anything else. Fuck that shit. I don't want that on my conscience. What the fuck? I just pushed the button and wiped them out. No.
I wouldn't have had it on my conscience, because I've literally got a second before I would have pressed that button the minute you would have said that, and then I'd have gone, shit. Yeah. What did I do?
Okay, I wouldn't reset stuff. I would never reset. I wouldn't reset, because, like with the technology thing, and you're saying with cameras and the way that technology will just exponentially grow, you know, like we see with technological unemployment, you see it every day when you go into a shopping centre and you just walk in, you go to the supermarket, you've got a little couple of electronic checkouts. This is inevitable. So why would we want to hinder progress? We're just not progressing in the right direction. That's all it is, because we're just steered by, like, you know, neoliberalistic capital bleeding.
All right, if we could press a button that was made every politician disappear, would you do that?
Oh no, that's different. That's.
Yeah.
Well,
I've just created the button.
No, not to disappear, because that's different.
But then you'd have that nice president, that poor president.
Oh, Uruguay. Oh, yeah. Actually, no, I'll take that one back as well.
He'd save all the others. It's so great.
I've just gone boo, 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 boo.
What is it with Kay and like mass? Kay, you're happy with mass genocide. You seem very comfortable with the idea of mass genocide on a button scale.
I can't help it. If your bank balance is at a certain extent, you're on the hit list. It's just like, yeah.
You're just looking for the Control Alt Delete.
With that like button for taking the power out, that that's like with the button, but that isn't like a solar flare could do that. Could not.
Yeah.
Power out that.
It would have to be of a magnitude of huge of proportions of it. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it would have to be something that has never been. You're talking massive, because we're still quite protected. It could knock out satellite systems, but to still affect you, it's got to come through atmosphere, and that's why we've got an ozone layer, because it protects us.
But that's what I was going to say. They reckon that in the future, with the hole in the ozone layer expanding, that is more.
No, it's not. It's not. It's actually receding. It's what actually that's the fact, because I thought the same in this, P, and I saw something the other week about it. That's actually being combated because of the cut down on CFCs, the big information push, and everyone changing everything over. It has kind of stopped it, but the main problem is the greenhouse gases. It's just going to warm up because it's just trapped because of this and the heating. It's not. The solar flare would come over, and the ozone is fine. It's like, to wipe that out. We're on track with that. It's just global warming.
That's good. No, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that until I saw it. I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. What? I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But
yeah,
that ain't the fucking thing that we got to worry about. Do you know what I mean? This is it was a whole thing of I can't remember where I saw it. I think it was either Democracy Now! Or the Freedom Speech Network over in the States, and they was talking about just the climate deniers and climate change denial, and just saying like how the conversation has switched on from, oh, it's not global warming now, it's climate change. They changed the terminology, and then it was having both sides of the argument. Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, oh, really?
So, okay, I take it. So, right, okay. So, if a solar flare or something like that was to happen, we admit that there would be carnage. So, what happens?
No, there wouldn't. Only to some communications. Our phone networks could go down. And it could knock out a lot of satellites, because if you've ever looked at a picture of Earth and seen the amount of satellites that are around, it is unbelievable. It is like, like you see, like it's like miniature Death Stars everywhere. It's just surrounded. So what about
if some sort of person managed to infiltrate the national grid? I wouldn't know who would do that, but I'm just saying, what if somebody managed to do that kind of thing? What kind of issue?
It's not me.
I wouldn't do it. If it were me, I did not press that button. What sort of damage would we be looking at then?
Okay, all right. So you got to think of basic infrastructure. If you're hitting in the idea of, do you know what the idea of a fire sow is? Do you know what a fire sow is? Right, a fire sow is basically a systematic computer. It's like, yeah, it has that effect, but it's a systematic attack from an outside force on your direct infrastructure via hacking. So the idea of it would be to hit every single part of it, so water, electric, everything along those lines, communications, just hitting that. So
yes,
a basic fire cell.
Would that
if
be
that happens, well, you've got to think straight away. If the power goes off, what happens? Right, so like P said earlier, P said it, babies for one in incubators, 2 people on life support, 3 in critical conditions. Medical services will be hit directly, straight away. Hospitals, gone. Unless they've got backup generators. Most of them do, or have their own kind of power supply, but that's only for a short period of time. That's that part gone. Then you've got to think of basic infrastructure. don't think about the impact upon you directly, because everyone can do that. Well, I'm not going to have any electricity. I can't see no lights. Oh, fuck that. There's going to be no street lights. There's going to be no traffic lights. There's going to be nothing. Absolutely nothing. If the national grid and the power went, you've got nothing. You've got gas for heating.
So the biggest thing, you're going to have no money, because all your money's you get like from your cash.
So you get looters, right?
Digital.
You ain't going to be able to fuel your car because those pumps are fucking electrical. You're going to have to get into the bloody tank. So you ain't going to get no food through. The stores ain't going to be open.
Just the power alone. Just the power alone. If you just took the power out of the situation, and a fire sale is everything.
How vulnerable we are. Does that not go to show how vulnerable we are? One system.
Isn't that what that new Planet of the Apes is about? They don't need power.
No. But basically, what happened with the Planet of the Apes is that that goes back to the first film, where there was an intelligence gene altering, and he invented this kind of gas and serum because he wanted to help his father with dementia. So he was trying to improve brain power. He finally figured it out, infected this one chimp, and then they infected others. But what happened, one guy got exposed to the toxin inside his gas mask, come off, and he got infected with it. He was patient 0. So you know what patient 0 is, don't you? It's the idea of, it's the patient 1, it's the guy, it's the catalyst of an epidemic.
The apes here.
Yes, this is what happens. So what happens is, the apes gain intelligence, and they go and break out other apes from captivity, give them this serum, it boosts their IQ, they fuck off to the Redwood Mountains, to these big redwood trees and shit like that, out in San Francisco, across the bridge and in the bay, in the woods and everything. They're all breeding, getting happy-go-lucky, but this virus starts to spread that was the direct cause of them getting their intelligence. That's what wipes the population out. And then this next film is the confrontation between the two.
All right, then. Okay,
there you go.
So next one. So what happens if a virus gets out?
Well, we've got Ebola at the moment hitting Africa, and the reason that Ebola's hitting Africa at the moment is because of, excuse me, unsanitary conditions.
Squeaky there.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's like I'm in Ginger's boudoir. Sorry, I'm in Ginger's boudoir, so I'm actually laying on my bed on my left-hand side, and I have a hiatus hernia. And if I lean too much on my left, I'll start getting pain until I cough. So, all right, I digress. So, Ebola out in Africa. So, Ebola out in Africa at the moment is only going on and becoming an epidemic because of unsanitary conditions. Ebola as a disease is a killer. We have no cure for it, but it is easily controllable through just simple hand washing, just the general medical practice what we have in this country. But there's a couple of practices in Africa of the washing of the dead from the family, which they say has contributed to the spread of this disease. Now, everyone knows that sometimes there's people believe that there is speculation these diseases started off by other things, but this has the potential to go on. But I think we can control it. But if a disease gets out that we don't have control for, then yeah, it's game over. People don't that's it. You can't do nothing about it. Antibiotics you're becoming immune to. Just the way that we have, you guys know, you're vegetarians. Vegetarians have a little bit more great. No, listen, let me explain. Before I make a generalization, please let me explain. As vegetarians, you have a greater understanding of nutrition to your body, because if you're not taking in direct protein from meat, you have to substitute. So you gain a greater knowledge of what your body and your tolerances are for your body, and you become more attuned to what your body reacts to, because you're taking away something. So your immune system will have to fight and become a little bit more advanced. You probably wouldn't get so much ill than other people's that have this. It's strange. It's weird.
Constipated. That's a bonus.
What do you think about, we've had a little outbreak of swine flu, haven't we, somewhere? Is it the
I had that.
How's it? HN1?
HN2 virus, I think it was called.
Scientists creating the super swine flu, which our immune system can't. It just bypasses the immune system. It just it's like the ultimate fucking virus.
There's always going to...
Why?
Yeah.
I know he said it's because actually this has been sensationalised. It's so we can see if it mutates on its own what the worst possible scenario could be, so that we can hopefully prevent it.
Wouldn't they instantly know the worst possible scenario just knowing that it's a super swine flu bug anyway, and that we're not going to be able to fight that off that quick anyway? Wouldn't they know that without creating it?
The thing is... No, go on, Pete, go on.
They create it so that they can try and stop it. But, you know...
Yeah.
I mean, who
again.
Who the fuck wants to do that for a job? You know, go handling that.
What wouldn't you not find that amazing? I'm a freak on science. I love science. I love science. I think science is amazing.
I don't want a job where I'm going to die from fucking some crappy disease.
But you're not like that. Look, come on. I've had this rational argument with a scientist before.
Have you seen me handle a hot drink? Do you really think I'm capable of being around some super virus that could kill the world?
Obviously, there's going to be some people.
You've seen me with the button.
My sister got for fuck's sake. You wouldn't want me nowhere near any petri dishes.
Nah, I wouldn't want to go near that. No.
I don't see a problem with.
Look at me, some hair for the fingers there. Yeah.
Well, look, it's this stuff's going to happen, man. This stuff's going to happen whether we like it or not. And there are still viruses. What about the giant mutant virus that they unearthed? That was the prehistoric. I spoke about a few with this super virus. No, this was already in permafrost. This was there. This mutant thing.
They're like fracking. What else is going to come up with? They're bringing up that sort of shit.
They found it because of climate change, because of receding ice. They found this thing in the permafrost. Scientists found it. It's so these kind of huge viruses and things are naturally occurring anyway. They're there. Systems collide. It's it's a reactionary kind of thing. But I don't see a problem with scientists doing this because, like Pete said, you can't find a cure without knowing how a virus reacts and how it does and how it mutates. You need that.
Why don't they find a cure for swine flu first before they make super swine flu?
Well, yeah, like just the terminology of super swine flu itself. So I just have visions of like this little pig running into a phone box and jumping out with like a super pea or something. I just had I don't like all that kind of shit. Super swine flu.
Spider pig.
Yeah, I know. I love Spider Pig. Yeah, I don't know. It's shit's gonna happen. Swine flu is not too bad, but like to come in aggressive form, I had that when that came round. It weren't nice, but it was it weren't as bad as it was. That was when we had a power cut southeast. So I was out without power for 5 days. I went without power for no electricity for 5 days, man. Having pig flu as well, which was amazing. I read a book and just sat there and reading books by candlelight. And this is someone who's a right tech geek. And I was playing games, and I'm like, I've got no games. Oh, I'm gonna have to read a book. So I did, and it was fun. So as much as I would hate to see the power go off or any bug-eating device, I think there's greater things that we have to worry about. And a lot of, like you say, the sensationalist ideas of it all.
Yeah, see, because you've got all sorts like that, haven't you?
So much. So.
Kiki just likes to plot.
Yeah, I do. I'm thinking about. I'm going on to floods next. I do like to plot. I have to admit, I'm a plotter. Don't lie, you're plotters too.
We need to start building houses on stilts.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me the other day, like houses on stilts. I'm like, all right, okay.
Stilt houses. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of houses on stilts.
We're wasting money trying to stop this, and if you look at Holland, they've just integrated it into their everyday life, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're right.
Money trying to stop it where it's just never going to stop. It's always going to go somewhere else with the flood. You know, you're just going to push it somewhere else, move the problem along. So let's just embrace it, have houseboats and fucking legs, stilty legs. I went by the Mini Venice down in Dorset, you know what I mean? Ole, just one.
So you're trying to embrace climate change now by just saying we should all like
roll with it.
All jump in gondolas and start selling cornettos. Is that what you're insinuating?
Yeah, right, yeah. Some Hawaii grass skirts.
Yeah, I've heard about this pirate thing. Oh my god, it's just you want the open seas and being pirate wenches. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, it's me. I'd want to make the politicians walk the plank. I'd be like, walk that plank. Swim to shore, the shore you created, you horrible bastards.
The songs that they sing. We've got a rum. We'd have to make up our own songs.
Yeah, we would. We'd have our own little like rugby style songs, like the activist songs and stuff. But you got that one, the fracking one anyway, haven't you? Put the Tories on the top. Put Lib down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've got your own fracking ones going on. And
you build a bonfire with a pirate accent.
there you go. Build a bonfire.
That was a country, guys.
Look, there's not much you can do about that. It's accent, alright?
You try.
We're being picky here.
Perform, monkey, perform.
Well, can I tell you about my day quickly?
No.
Go on then.
I went to the Peterborough March for the strikes. And we had all the unions there. We had TUC, NUT, Unite, Unison, GMB. They were all kind of there. They'd all like got together. Someone made nice little cakes actually. They were nice. But we had quite a few people turn up. There was a good few there. There was probably 50, 60, something like that. There was quite a few. Marched through. I did a couple of interviews with a couple of them. Oh, the Socialist Party was there too, the Green Party. No Labour, no Tory, obviously. But that was winding the belt a bit, weren't it, really? Marched through, had a good day. Problem is, it dispersed, like, literally immediately. As soon as we'd got to the church, there was a few speeches, and then bam, gone, everyone gone.
Yeah, did you not notice that though on the People's Assembly one though? Yeah. It was like, we got to there and then people just started to drift off straight away. It's like, well, we've done our march, that's it now, that's... No, man,
isn't the mingling and discussing... P, I can't hear you. You've got your mic on. Is she talking?
Yeah, she's got mute on.
That's the problem with unions marches, is that they're not there to make like plans and things. They're there to march, make their point, and go home. They don't really hang around. They do all of that at their meetings.
Yeah, but then doesn't this come to that same adage that like look at me talking, like I've only been doing this for like 10 months and I'm like talking like some grizzled veteran of some sort that's of protest decades. Well, no, I think I've seen over this short period of time and gauged from a lot of people that they don't believe that marching is going to resolve, not with unless you have millions, like or hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Even today, the mainstream media, watching the coverage, man, when you watch the coverage from these guys, they're like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll come back to that. But unless you have that huge amount of people, does it not feel that it's, it doesn't really get that much?
That's why the media's blacking it out, because they know that people will join us and people will start coming. And that's why they don't report these protests of 70,000 marching. It's because they know that we will grow if they do. So they just try and brush it under the carpet. They show the shitty little ones to make it look like we haven't got that much support. because the average Joe blogs is waiting to come out for the big one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Getting anywhere, but the problem is, marching is never going to increase numbers because you're never going to reach the people that don't already know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As much as you see a march as an information kind of thing and getting information out there, that a lot of the marches that I've been on don't tend to engage with people on the sides. You know, there's not that much interaction. It's like, right, start at point B, we'll march to start at point A, we'll march to point B, we'll have a chat there, and then that's it. And like you say, you're preaching to the converted already. You know, this is not what it's about.
I got a general consensus of the fact that the unions, a few of the unions, I wouldn't say all of them because I spoke to most of them there. I wasn't running around everyone, like filming anyone and everyone. And a couple that I spoke to afterwards where I had a little bit more of a chat, because like I said, I didn't have time to chat to them. They're not there to chat. And the one that I did chat to and tried discussing, there was no way at all she was into any kind of anarchy, any kind of uprising, any revolution. She's fine. Her world around her is fine. It was just her pay rise she wanted and some benefits she wanted for the work. And I think we're moving too fast with the unions sometimes and don't realise the unions may not be nearly even close to the level we're on our way of thinking.
Unions, by their very definition, are already dealing with people that are working. You know, so I know there's a lot of people working. I know there's a lot of poor working. There's a lot of people worse off working. But a lot of them, you know, the very poor can't really afford to pay for the unions. So maybe the poor is a bit underrepresented in the unions.
Yeah, I think you're right, because today I didn't get that feeling.
Yeah, but it
wasn't represented on a wide scale. It
was the extreme poor. You know, some people can be, you know, a member of the union and still be poor, but I mean, like the extreme poor, the people that have to count every penny, can't afford to pay the subscription to a union.
Yeah, but isn't that like the majority of working class now? That's not right. So you're talking the poorest of the poor are probably not going to be in work, let alone think of any kind of union to be part of or anything along that, let alone pay subscriptions to. But those in work now, this is where, as much as like it's the idea to get people out there because this government needs to be changed, but with unions it is still going to be a selfish act. It's to improve my conditions. It's so I can get more money in work, which is what you should be entitled. A fair day's pay for a fair day's work is completely not something that we shouldn't look towards as a civilization.
But it's still part of a wider scale issue.
As much as you want the unions to be uniting with the lower class and coming out for everything, but like you say, the level of engagement to getting those people, they're normally like it is now. It's the middle class that are being attacked. The public, the public sector, they want it. They need that in private. They need that in private hands. I was looking at statistics and seeing that Sky News banging around these statistics of public sector jobs are down at 5.6%, but then private sector are up at 4.2%. So where's the extra percentage in between? Oh, they become unemployed. So you're seeing the slash, and they're trying to justify this. And you're looking at these figures blatantly on the screen, and you're like, well, hold on. You're saying that there's like a disparaging figure and we shouldn't really worry about the public sector, but hold on, you're slashing public sector. Private sector is going up, public sector is going down, and we're still losing jobs on top of that, and you don't expect people to strike. Am I fucking stupid, or am I seeing that blatant bit of propaganda that you've just put in front of me there? That's, you couldn't be more clearer, but they are spinning it. And like you say.
But the other thing with the unions, and I do think that they do a good job, is that by having a subscription, automatically they're ruling out some of the workforce. When you're making a decision to strike or things like that, should it not be down to the fact that you work somewhere and not down to the fact that should you not give that information to all your employees, not just union members? You know,
unions shouldn't be subsidised by the workers. You shouldn't have subsidised worker unions. Unions should be they have to be funded by business tax, and that business tax goes into the unions, and it is all still representative from them, and they have no influence to it. But then it takes out, and then you can have the whole workforce in it, because no one has to fear
the
of
workforce. Shouldn't the employer fund the union?
Yeah, that's if you do that though.
Part and parcel of it.
Yeah, but that's why you would create. That's why you would create a tax on business to have funding for unions. But you would have to watch, because it could be infiltrated. It could be done like unions have done.
And the problem is, if you say to the employer you're going to play the union, the union rep, then the employer is going to have a certain amount of control over who he wants to be that union rep, and maybe they wouldn't represent.
Well, yeah, but maybe they shouldn't. Maybe there should be just stricter rules on that. That a union should just be run by the people. Anyone can join
maybe
it.
Percentage that comes off that the employers have to make. You know, say like you pay £7.50 an hour, you've got to pay 10p an hour towards the workplace union, that they've got the need for.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, there's no way that this should even be a fucking argument. There's no like,
No.
You know, work's becoming obsolete as it is. You know, we're still thinking in current paradigm situations of of where we're at now. This is going to become irrelevant pretty goddamn fucking soon, and we're still being pretty petty about it. As long as these kind of denigrating systems are still in place and capitalism is left to run riot, this is still just going to perpetuate and go on and on and on until this is gone and we fucking start afresh. This is the way that it's going to happen until everything goes kaputsky and Kay pushes the button.
I'm not going to push the button.
She's lying.
I won't push it. I promise, guys. I swear. No button pressing.
It's a difficult one.
I'm thinking of the consequences. Don't worry.
Our firemen go on a 10-day strike starting Monday.
Huh?
Who do?
Our firemen.
Yeah. For me, unless you've got repeated strike action over a large consecutive, like a large period of time, and you have a huge amount of people doing it, nothing's going. It's pointless.
GMB was clear today. The union person was clear today that this is not going to stop, and they're going to be putting on more. They're going to be pushing harder. They're going to have to change their tack. So I think we're going to start seeing something a little bit more interesting from GMB. But are the other unions going to step up to the same mark of whatever one union sort of does?
Whether they do or not, you've still got the other problem of the government just rushing through the idea of changing the law on strikes.
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, half the time strikes aren't supported by 50% of union members.
No.
You know what I mean? So you really need to change of attitude in workplace, and a lot more people taking part, and it needs to be like the firemen, 10 consecutive days, and with the plan to do it again in a month's time if an agreement hasn't been made. But there is no point in I mean, the reports today have been that this wasn't as big as last year's one. I don't know where that comes from. I think it was Jerry who said it on his post. He says, like, all the reports, people were hoping it would be like as big as 2010.
There wasn't, according to, but that's only according to the mainstream. But then like you say, when we was at People's Assembly, they said 50,000. Whether that got exaggerated or not, you know, is a different kettle of fish. I don't know. I know there was a lot of people there. There was a good few thousand, like, you know, at least 10,000 people there. Whether it's 50 or not, who knows? You're never going to know the official figure unless each individual person is counted. So you've got two conflicted propaganda kind of stories coming out, one from the side that's run it and one from the side that's trying against it.
If that was the in actual figure, whether or not, like you said, whether it was, why would the BBC plug it as that anyway, and the mainstream media plugged it as that? So is there a reason why they're plugging it as being more as well? I don't know. You don't get anything these days.
The BBC did not plug it as that. The BBC said that the organisers said. They basically said it was the organisers' figure, and they kind of washed their hands of it, really.
Well, I saw the march. I saw the march start in London on Sky and it was outside the BBC again. So they started outside the BBC. And the Sky reporter said it didn't look too many people at first, but now there's he says there's thousands here now. And you saw the aerial pictures that they had, and it did look a lot of people. There was a few thousand that had marched in London today alone.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's without, I know Birmingham was quite big, but there was action everywhere. I even today, Kian was off. I train kids. I teach kids how to play street hockey. So I go into schools. So we didn't have any work today, which I'm not. I'm all supportive of any kind of strike action for better working conditions or rights for anyone. So I won't begrudge that. So I had my son with me today, and I took him to the comic book shop, but I had the flags left over from the People's Assembly. I took the Fire Brigades Union, the NUT one, and the PCS one. So I rigged them together on a hockey stick today, and we marched, me and Kian marched down to the comic book shop in solidarity, waving our flag, and we marched back, and I made a little video with me and Kian. And I said, "What are we doing, Kian?" He's like, "We're on strike." So
that's good. That's good. That's a single person's protest. Well done.
Yeah, I think as much as we say that things don't make a difference, or and it is maybe a selfish act that we do, but it's the only way that we can do it. If you don't do something, how the fuck's anyone gonna know? So you've got to make some step, even if it's the smallest.
Yeah, it's about this new one. It's
I had to break my son's heart.
What?
He wants to go to Legoland for his birthday, but I showed him Legoland with the polar bears and the oil and everything, and I was like, no more Lego, darling. No Legoland.
Oh.
It's horrible, isn't it? It is horrible.
It is. But he's got lots, and if we see it in second-hand shops, we'll buy it, but I ain't buying any in the shop.
That premise that you've said there about buying a lot of things second-hand, I've really started to do that as much as possible, and not having any kind of fear of going into these kind of, there's no
you have to beat people like me and P. You have to fight through.
I'm not a veteran yet. No, I'm not a veteran.
Only in a second-hand shop can you get a dress as fabulous as that one I put on our last conversation.
I know.
What, the little house on the prairie job with the doilies? This thing, people had doilies everywhere. It was like, it comes straight out of the Wild West prairie scene.
It's fab.
All it needed to be was gingham and doilies, and that would have been it. You had a piece of straw out your mouth, you look like an extra from Little House on the Prairie straight away.
There's nothing better than watching somebody who's got one of those imaginations, especially an activist, and they're running around. I tell you what, right? You could get P dressing up as anything. She loves it, didn't you, P? But mind you, I do too. But the more bizarre, the more, and you can only find that in charity shops. You can't find it elsewhere. You have to get bizarre from charity shops because it's older, it's different. That was definitely old. But I loved it. I love that. Have
you I know you have followed Guy Fraser. Have you seen the work that Guy Fraser's been doing with the free shop idea up in Liverpool?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is. He saw an interview of the free shops in Berlin. He spoke to the lady of one of these free shops, and they explained about how it is like this growing community out in Berlin, and he loved the idea. People like the idea that he came back with it, and they've mutated that idea, and they're thinking mobile free shops. They've got a whole thing ready to rock and roll all around in Liverpool and everything like that. It's like bang, as quick as that, and you're like, whoa, that's amazing.
We have a place near us called Orinoco. It's in Oxford, and they go around to all the businesses and they collect half-used tins of paint, paper, publisher books that are just blank so you can see the quality, but you could stick anything you like in it, feathers, anything that they think could be reused. they collect from businesses, and it's like a craft store that you I think you pay £5 to join, and you get 5 vouchers, and you go in and back up with all sorts of craft stuff. But then on a weekend they do a swap shop where they go and they set up like a car boot, but everything's free. You bring stuff and you take stuff. So it's just like recycling. And they'll travel around Oxfordshire doing that at a weekend. They also bring, when they do their sweatshop, a lot of rubbish that the businesses have. So they have great big carpet tubes and boxes, and these kids build dens, things like that there while they're there.
Yeah.
And that's a great social enterprise.
Yeah, I like that.
That is exactly the same premise of, you know, like you said, but that you do that with a free shop. Some of them do that. They pay, like, you become a member, and then you can take things out and bring it back. But that same idea of, like you say, you're part of a membership, but then there is that free kind of element to it. Well, I'll bring this, you take that, we can swap this. It's the way we need to be, you know, going back to that kind of system of just. Plus, like you said, it creates a community. People become. You've got to strike up a bargain. You've got to talk to people. You've got to connect with them. You've got to understand them. You're going to see things and again gain a greater understanding, because you're seeing what we're losing and what we're wasting as well, and what we can turn into things.
Top notch. Yeah. When I was running like a youth club and we didn't have a lot of money for craft stuff, I mean, we got beads and everything. We wouldn't have coped without it. They just endless pots of felt tip pens, things like that, you know, and you just scrap it all up. And some of the stuff is like stock from shops that, you know, closed down and left behind, so it's not all like new stuff. And I think if we could barter a little bit more, it would be much better.
Yeah, I agree.
So what happened with the rest of today then? Like, was it what was the turnout like in sense of people that you would class as knowing certain things? Did you, when you interviewed these people, what were they like? Were they just completely just non-observant? What was it? Did you come on? So tell me what I want to know what the questions that you asked these people.
Well, we have to admit, right? Wave had a little glitch today, and 2 or 3 of the interviews aren't going to be on there. That I'm really sorry about that, but yeah, shit happens. I'm sorry.
Hey man, everyone has technical issues. That ain't a problem. You know, it glitches. Shit happens.
The last question I asked everybody was, have you got anything to say to like your MPs or your or David Cameron? And each one of them said the same thing. We're not going to. They actually mentioned NHS cuts. They mentioned the workers' rights. They mentioned the certain things that we all know about, but on a lower key, like the privatisation. One of them actually turned around and said, once we're privatised, that's it, it's game over, that's it, we need to stop privatising. And then so you did have a higher conscience there of what's happening, but then also on the same level you did still have a few that were kind of very just stuck to their own groups. They didn't, they palmed you up. They're sort of like, no, go talk over that, you know, no, go talk to them or talk to them. But when I managed to get them in the pub, you kind of, when you chat to them and you realise that they're still wake up in the morning.
Do they believe that capitalism is still the way forward? That they believe that is their only suggest? They have no idea of concepts.
You were to say to them, right, well, we need, the whole system's crap, and it's like, well, what are you going to do with that system? So they're still on that level. That in itself is an answer to what you've just said. So you're kind of dealing with people that are they're not on these websites we're on. If they go on, they'll check their union website, but they won't filter, they won't go and Google what's going to happen if World War III breaks out. Do you know what I mean? They're just not really, they're not going to Google it. They're not even nearly at that stage at some points. It's still very social issues within the council for the council to deal with. There is no sort of takeover. Got some really nasty comments about Gove. That was great. that was a bonus, yeah. The NUT was there. So I grabbed him at the end and I asked him whether he wanted to say a little message to Gove, and we'll put that on Wave later. But yeah, it Absolutely brilliant. And I was walking around, I was like, it's Wave of Action. They're like, who's Wave of Action? It's like, blah, 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 blah. And just giving them a venue, because if you turn around and say, oh, I'm anonymous, and like it did get a couple of them were like, don't like anonymous bad. You know, they kind of don't like that kind of thing. It's like, well, okay. But it was easier approaching them with Wave, even though I have anon friends and I support anonymous 100% with what they do. Do you know what I mean? So in effect we are sort of all anons in our right, in a way where we say that we're standing in the solidarity. So we're all in it in that kind of way, but we just don't really wear the masks as much anymore. We're just not, you know, that kind of thing. Or some are from Occupy, some are from Anon, some are from this, some are from that. And I think approaching them as a page called Wave of Action, that really helped, because people were like, oh, okay, straight away they were like, what's this about, blah blah blah, and knowing it's global and that, and they were more willing to talk. They were willing to talk. And the Evening Telegraph, the local paper, was there as well, and they reported he was there the whole time. He walked down with us and everything.
I think it's inevitable.
Your local papers are a lot more supportive. You know,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of success with local papers on issues, you know, whereas the bigger things, they've got too many fish to fry, they don't really interested.
Yeah.
But I read one today about a millionaire, I can't remember his name, in America, and he says basically give them their living wage, or else they're going to get the pitchforks out. And that's my worry, is that these people, they're willing to make a stand now, but if they are given what they want, those people will go away.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but that's different though, because they're not going to be able to be given what they want. That's not, because it's a fire sale, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fire sale. They're going to sell shit. They want that. You can have it all. It's all got to go. Everything's got to go. The public sector is going into private hands, whether you like it or not. It is happening, unless there is a complete upheaval of social consciousness. Shit's gonna get dystopic. It's gonna get fucking Orwellian. Shit's gonna hit the fan. What do you have today? What else did you have today? Hold on, you had the Snoopers Charter that came in today. Did you not see this? The Snoopers Charter. That's it. They've said, right, well, we need to take this for counter-terrorism. We need to take everyone's data now, like the complete NSA shit that they've come out and said, we're doing it now.
We're legalising it. So now you can't moan about it being done behind your backs. We're gathering all this information, so it works on twofold, doesn't it? Anyone that thinks like, well, the rise of terrorism, well, yeah, there's all this stuff going on with ISIS and Boko Haram and all this shit, so we need to be careful because like they're coming back from Syria. It don't matter that we trained them, we funded them, and we wanted them to go out there. It don't matter they're going to come back and they're going to bomb us now. No, don't worry about that. We need to do that. Oh, by the way, also this does come in and probably does come to an affect a majority of people that go out and protest now, because you're classed as a domestic terrorist, an extremist. Hold on. What about all these Christian motherfuckers that are denigrating against everyone else about this, that, and plenty of the other? Yeah.
Mobile's like that, ready there. And I tried to go on my mate's free mobile. A while back this was. I got the sites I wanted to go to. It wouldn't fucking let me. And I was looking at porn. It was political stuff. And then I went into, I had to click the link on free to see why. And it's like, they censor, like, sexually explicit pictures and extreme political views.
But it's easy switched off. No, but you can switch that off, because I'm on 3 and I have that. They put it on standard. My phone. Yeah, but they put it on standard.
Yeah, who the fuck?
Yeah, but you got to think of like, right, so like a lot of tech-minded people. Pete, what you got to think of? Who has a lot of communications now? Kids, man. We're giving kids mobile phones with internet access. I don't mind, like, some people are not internet savvy. With the easy way, you hit this, and then like the kid's gonna go, well, what's this to you? You can check it and say, no, I've got to leave that on there, or no, I can click it off. It's not a bit. Some safeguards are needed, do you know what I mean? But not to the extreme of that's all right.
Extremism is needed to be hidden.
Brilliant. If basically my kids were free, I didn't want to spy on them all the time, but I typed in keywords, So if somebody was mean and horrible or sexually explicit or arranged to meet, things like that, I could type in, and I get emailed whole conversation, so I could see whether.
Yeah, I had
that was on their phones and their.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, I could have said it stricter, but I didn't want to spy on them. You know what I mean? She was like 15. She needed her own space, but I wanted to know that she was safe, because that's my concern. People talking. But the good thing about this one, I can't remember what it's called, but it has like a alert button on it. Say somebody was older and they were talking to her, and I thought, hang on, he's arranged to meet her. I could click an alert button, and then any other child using that person couldn't contact that. He was completely the IP. I obviously could find it probably, but
my kids have no blocks on the internet. There's they have complete full reign of the internet. I've explained things to them, and they come to me with stuff that they notice, but I do not stop anything that they want to see on the internet. If they find something on the internet and they don't know what it is, they're going to come to me and they're going to ask, and I explain it to them. It's the only way, through education. Blocking shit and something happens for being protective of that way, but and shit can happen, be infiltrated. But
if you have keywords that are sent to you, then they can protect you. Then that message, if your kid's getting a message, go on.
Well, don't get me wrong. I know what she's on there. If I don't let them download shit, or you know, I keep tabs on their tablets of what they've got. Both my kids have tablets because I think it's important that they have this kind of technology, because get them used to it, man. I don't care. This technology, it's there to be used. Get people around that technology, and their imagination and their ideas are expanding, and they can push next things on. I love that. That's, you know, great. Yeah, great. But I'll monitor it, but I won't be like checking absolutely everything. Would you like to
receive a message if there was certain explicit words in a conversation via your child and another person? Isn't that the best way of helping them without snooping on them? Because then if they've got somebody...
No, because I know what comms that they're using. Because I know what comms that they're using at the moment. I know what they're using. If something like the thing that you got with a lot of kids have gone from, whereas adults are now and Facebook has been kind of left from a younger generation. They've gone to Instagram, and then Instagram's been left, and WhatsApp's been used, but that's been gone. It's all about Snapchat and stuff like that. That takes pictures or has a conversation, and it's gone in 7 seconds. It's gone. It can't. It goes. It's gone from then. But like that image. Someone can still capture that image, I'm sure, you know. Screen capture. There's like, you know, so
there's apps you can use to keep. I've got an app on my phone that keeps Snapchat photos. Because anyone who wants to Snapchat me, I've never been Snapchat, so I'm absolutely sure that the next one will be a blinder if I ever do. So I'll wait for it, and I'll be like, yeah, got you. But yeah, I don't know. I like the censorship in terms of if there was an attempt at grooming. I think that you should always be aware that they use such snidey little tactics that us as parents possibly wouldn't always be aware. And a lot of the time they portray themselves as a child up until the point where they get closer to saying, but I think with grooming it's rare that they portray themselves
but it's just knowing,
other than a child. But
that's simply stopped though, isn't it?
Language,
but that's simply stopped, okay? That's simply stopped by just not letting them use that. My kids are not on Facebook. They're not on this every single open message source. They don't have Twitter accounts. They've got YouTube accounts because they want to watch and subscribe to stuff. But that's it. They've got an email address, but they don't have anything else. That's it.
Yeah, but a lot
very minimal contact.
On Facebook at 7, 8 years of age, people have put their on it. I know very young kids that are on Facebook from a very young age, and the same way that the NSA would use a word like, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it like bomb, right there, bam, they're in on that conversation. They're possibly just coming now. Do you know what I mean? If you use a keyword like that, you'd use exactly the same sort of keywords to alert yourself to a groomer or paedophiles or extremists in that way. I don't feel they need to put an age-related block on a whole communication just in case a young child clicks on it. I think the parents...
Yeah, but they've got to though, haven't they? The ISP's got to do that because then they can still be held responsible. You know, it's blame and claim. But like, I'm not against.
Our children are going to be fucked on the data things. The school collects no end of data. You know, the school keeps a record of whether you're on free school dinners, whether you've gone ADHD, you know, all that. And with the fingerprint and the biometrics and all the shit that they've got at school now, profiling on our children starts very young. And then on the internet, you know, it's building a nice little profile of them.
Yeah, but like, unbeknowingly, we've been doing that. We've been doing that ourselves for like ages, though, haven't we? Though we put all our photos up of what we do and everything that we put ourselves up there to be looked at and adored by others, and we're looking for appeasement and approval by a thumbs up or like a share or something. You know, that's the way that society has been made to think at the moment. Obviously, the kids are going to be the most surveyed and under scrutiny because technology is that way. It's, you know, biometrics and things like that are going to happen. What you don't want is like when it comes to complete digital currency and everything like that, and we're in the problem. That can end up in some pretty bad shit. But hey, I agree with what you say on the surveillance tip, Pete, because like that, having that safeguard, is wicked. Don't get me wrong. I think it's an amazing bit of technology and should be used. You've got keywords like that and getting flashed back. That's the only way that you're going to stop illicit and lewd behaviour like that, man, and get that out of society, you know. But
did you hear about the London buses?
Yeah, I told you about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's gone cashless. Because I started work and I had to travel on the bus again. I got given a card and I was like, and it went from Sunday. So as much as I don't want to be on a system or doing anything like that, I now have to have a fucking Oyster card. I have to have an Oyster card. Like today, I was gonna, if the weather was good, and we would have worked and we would have had schools. Kian would have been off. I would have taken Kian to work with me today, and he would have been skating around. That's great. I have the flexibility of taking my son to work, which is amazing. But I would have had to face the option then of getting another Oyster card for him to get on public transport. And you're like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We have a fast track bus system that works because Bluewater's very close to me. We have a fast track bus system that has been designated its own piece of road. So it goes, it's faster. It's a faster piece of public transport. Whereas the London bus takes a different route. That's still cash at the moment. So I think that's pretty close. That'll probably be pretty close to going to switching over to digital. But it's useless.
Do you not think that for having that across the board, because people, for convenience sake, do use cash points, do use cards a lot, that they will sooner justify that. And it would be a new currency.
They want you to go to digital. They don't want a hard currency. They want a digital currency. A digital currency is easier for them to
profile again. They know it's easy for profiling. They know everything you're buying. They know everywhere you've been. And really, the best thing we can do, like protest-wise, is use cash as much as possible.
Yeah, but that is becoming extremely difficult. It is becoming harder to use cash as the system.
Now you can't do your council tax without direct
debit.
Yeah, you can't just go in and pay by cash at Peterborough City Council anymore.
Yeah, but that's as well, because and then you're fucked with the liability of them fucking up with bureaucracy, and then you getting stuffed for an even fucking bigger bill because they cocked it up with their fucking the paperwork, and then they're like, oh, but we didn't do anything wrong. Well, hold on a second, you fucking have. You cocked up. You didn't add this, didn't do that. Well, you didn't send it in. Well, yeah, I took it in twice, but you didn't do. You know, you've got that endless complaints. If it goes to digital and it's an automatic system, you're just going to get fined and. But that's the currency and the system of capitalism, and rah rah rah. We're all gonna die.
Enjoy.
Kay's gonna push the button.
Just like that. Boop, boop, boop. World hunger saved. Boop, boop, boop. If only it was that easy.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I reckon we should just get a clan of Care Bears out. We could do the Champ Bear. Care Bear stare.
Oh gosh.
Ah.
So what do you reckon, right? So what do you reckon then with the likes of today? Like, after we've finished with the conversation, I am going to go and play some computer games. I will not lie to you, but I'm going to have a quick look at the news and a little other couple of things. I'm going to go and shoot some people in the face in a complete pacifist kind of mentality.
I'm going to do a bit of looking at ISIS. I'm going to look into ISIS a bit more, I think.
I just want to see how what's come out of today and what the thinking and feeling is that's come out from a lot of people. I've got to go and take my flags down from outside and get Gove Out poster from my front window.
Yeah, no, leave it. Just leave it there permanent. Leave it.
Yeah, but
he should know how people feel about him. He's a disgusting.
As much as I want to,
education secretary.
As much as I want to, my wife would not be happy about it.
Really?
And you got to be in you. No, she's not happy like with Gove. She's not happy with just having it constantly in the window.
She doesn't want a leaflet in her window.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I have people my window and reading stuff on my window and on my back car. I'll sit there, I'll turn around, and just what's that fucker looking in my car for? And I think, oh yeah, I've got like loads of shit all over the back of my car.
I actually went out to move a flag. I went out to move a flag earlier. To make sure it was upright, because I put another 2 NUT ones on a fence as well, and a woman and her husband walked past, and she looked and she was reading what it said on Get Gove Out, and she turned around and smiled and went gave me a thumbs up. So that was all good. So at least that's one person that's like.
Yeah, it's horrible when you've got people looking in your window. I'm alright because my window, I've kind of it's blocked. You can't see them, but I have got leaflets on my window as well, and just to inform people on the way past that Gove's a wanker. No, I'm not allowed to put that. But that is what I'd like to put. I couldn't really go in. I loved it today with NUT being there and being able to slander him a bit more. And it's nice to be able to slander someone that's destroying children's educations and lives so quickly in just a click of a finger. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I thought he was going to say something.
Rant over.
No, he does look like Penfold.
I should get
the more I see of him.
Huh?
I will go and sort my son out who's broke my tablet.
Oh no! Oh no! There's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah. You can fix it.
Look at my phone.
Yeah, that was.
Well, barely, if you can.
Yeah.
I can't believe you still got it, to be honest.
Ah, fuck it. I ain't buying a new one.
Yeah.
I ain't giving any more money.
The front of piece screen.
I like crazy paving.
Yeah, it's like a mosaic. It's like,
I can't send messages. I forget when she can't see nothing on her phone, and I'm like, I'll send her stuff. She's like, oh, I can't see. It's not till you see her phone you think, oh shit, yeah, that is awful.
I got the same, yeah.
It's like that cracked nail polish you buy. Where it crackle effect. I'm surprised it hasn't just caved in and just.
When you handed me the phone on that People's Assembly, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck? How can you do it? What? It's like looking out of a fly's eye. It was like, do you know what I mean? Do you know all them hexagons? It's like, what? A bit of honeycomb in my hand or something.
It's definitely worst phone screen ever.
I'm talking on it now. I'm talking to you on it now. It worked.
Very true. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't see shit.
I'll take it.
Yeah. This poor little phone. Poor little phone. Oh, I don't know. I couldn't live that. I have to admit, I'm very.
Pocket because I think that the whole fucking screen's gonna come out. And when your finger crossed, you get a few splinters.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
You have to do like your pass thing on your lock.
Just don't put it in your back pocket and keep sitting down because you're gonna get an arseful.
Yeah, you'll end up with glass in your ass.
Yeah, you have to go to the hospital and get your derriere out, and they'll have to go start with a couple of tweezers.
Yeah, my phone is stuck in my bum cheek.
Sexual.
Right, what's the time? It's 7:20.
Okay. Well, anyone else got anything to add?
No.
Well, I'm going to press the button then.
My sister heard about my protest that we've got coming up that we're not saying too much about.
Oh, yeah.
She went
Secret Squirrel Squad protest.
Super Secret Squirrel Squad. Ho!
Yeah.
She went, my mum just laughed. She said, yeah, no. She goes, well, I don't find it funny.
Well, we'll see. There's we can't even give a date away, but I suppose we'll be chatting about it in the next couple of weeks. Let's just say that.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me along. I know Matteo couldn't be here, so thanks for inviting me along, and you know where I am.
No, it's
floating about. And obviously, we see you.
Might have another one tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Matteo said he might be available tomorrow, so we could do another one then.
Yeah, that'll be alright. Oh, cool. Nice one. Brilliant. Fill it up.
Yeah,
Bye.
and I'll see you when we organise to go somewhere again soon.
Yeah, can't wait. P, get to editing that video. Right. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.